Bienvenidos a la España, amigos. España islamista. En España tengo muchos problemas. Y socialistísimo, y islamísimo, y comunístimo. Pero es problema mejor es islamístimo. Islamisto. La gente vives en Magreb, en Morocco, en Algeria, en Tunisia, en Siria, en todo el mundo, visitar en la España, viva en la España y hace muchos problemas en las calles en España. Let's dive into it, ladies and gentlemen. If you didn't understand what I was saying there's a major issue in my very broken Spanish. There's a major issue with Muslims from all over the world, from North Africa specifically, who are setting up and dominating a lot of parts of Spain. And we need to address it. We need to talk about it. I feel like we've been traveling all over the world in this series. We've been to Japan. We've been to France. We've been Germany. We've been in the Netherlands, covering all these European cities and countries that are falling to Islamization. I'm Tala Traveling Clatior Dulce El Rey Zionista. I think that's how you say it. No, that's Sweet Zionist King. Whatever. You get the point. If you want to be a Sweet Zionist King or princess or prince like me, get the merch down below in the description of thetravelingcloud.com and let's take a look. This is a hostile takeover begin. Muslims start demanding. Muslim women in Spain want to ban Catholic religion in Spanish schools.
Racistas en nuestros centros de estudio bajo una supuesta laicidad. Si tan laicos son, que prohíban la religión católica y que prohíban. Porque sois vosotras quienes no podéis entrar con vuestro hijab y sí que pueden entrar cruces, estampitas de la Virgen o prohibir.
Now, you have to understand something about Spain, something about España, that's different than every other country that has Muslim immigrants is Spain falls directly under Dar al-Islam and Dar al-Harb mindset. Dar al-Harb means the house of war. Dar al-Islam or Salam means the house of peace or the house of submission to God, of Salam, of peace. Once Muslims conquered Spain, which they did at a certain point, and Islamic Spain was a part of the Spanish Empire for a long time, and a lot of culture came out of there. Since then, when the Inquisition, not the Inquisition, when the I forgot the word yesterday too. When the Crusades, sorry, it took me a minute there to remember the word. I keep forgetting the word. I don't know why I keep forgetting the word Crusades. When the Crusades happened, and the Spanish Christians, the Europeans, liberated Spain from the Arabs, liberated it from Islamic rule, for better or for worse, whether that was good for Jews or not. It was not very good for Jews, but life in Spain for Jews was never really great. Once they liberated it from Islam, the mindset in the Arab world, in the Ummah, has always remained that Spain is Dar al-Harb, is the house of war at the moment, but needs to go back to being Dar al-Islam or Dar Salam, the house of peace, which falls under the Muslim mindset. And so for them, when they're advocating for the fact that Spaniards should not be able to wear crosses, should not be able to go to school with crosses, should not be able to teach Catholic thing because they want to teach Muslims, because they really do believe that Spain is a Muslim country. And a lot of times when you hear the Islamization of Europe, Spain is the first place they want to go back to. Spain is the first place they want to set up the caliphate in again. Spain opposition leader exposes Pedro Sánchez.
Su postura, la de mandar buques de guerra o la de las pancartas gigantes del no a la guerra. Su postura se puede resumir siempre en un no a la verdad. Miente como siempre. Usted quiere la guerra porque a usted le da igual que sea en Irán o en Ucrania. A usted le gusta la guerra, le gustan las pandemias, le gustan las inundaciones. Sí, porque con cualquier desastre el señor Sánchez aprovecha para hacer caja con sus socios y para tapar sus corrupciones. Quizá por eso en los últimos años España, señorías, bajo su gobierno, ha exportado a Irán millones de euros en detonadores y en explosivos. ¿Cómo se siente al saber que los misiles que dispara Irán y que matarán a inocentes llevan una foto suya en señal de agradecimiento. No, no es ningún bulo, porque son las agencias iraníes de la Guardia Revolucionaria las que lo han contado. Esta es la inscripción de los misiles. ¿Celebra usted el lanzamiento de cada misil o hacen caja con algún entramado de esos que todavía no conocemos? El señor Sánchez es capaz de vender bombas, lo ha hecho aquí, con una camiseta de no a la guerra puesta. El señor Sánchez quiere la guerra porque el ruido de las explosiones oculta sus corruptelas, sus crímenes, sus traiciones y la situación a la que ha condenado a los españoles. Las bombas del exterior evitan que se hable de lo que pasa en el interior y por eso sale aquí, sin ningún tipo de vergüenza, disfrazado de pacifista, a decir que todo lo que ocurre en España es achacable a la escena internacional. ¿Acaso no hay casas para los jóvenes y para las familias por la guerra de Irán? ¿Acaso no han entregado una maldita vivienda protegida por la guerra de Irán? ¿Acaso los médicos españoles cobran una miseria por la guerra de Irán? ¿Acaso los sanitarios se van de nuestro país por la guerra de Irán? ¿Acaso se han multiplicado las violaciones en las calles por la guerra de Irán? ¿Acaso los barrios de media España son inseguros por la guerra de Irán? ¿Acaso descarrilan los trenes por la guerra de Irán? ¿Acaso han metido en España 3 millones de inmigrantes en 5 años por la guerra de Irán? ¿Acaso han tenido que aprobar, junto con el Partido Popular en Europa, un tratado criminal para el campo y para la industria como Mercosur por culpa de la guerra de Irán? ¿De verdad? Suba aquí y diga que todo esto es por Irán y no por su incompetencia, por su maldad y por su corrupción. Suba y dígalo si se atreve. Le decía, señor Sánchez, que de todos los disfraces que usted se pone, el que peor le queda es el del líder de la Internacional Pacifista, porque cuando se posiciona en asuntos internacionales, de quien usted recibe el aplauso es de los asesinos, de los talibanes, de los de Hamás y de los ayatolás, es decir, de todos los amigos de la paz y la libertad en el mundo, parece. Es decir, de los que ponen su foto en los misiles que matan gente. ¿Se saltó Irán el derecho internacional al matar a miles de civiles, a 30.000 civiles, porque usted no ha hablado de eso? ¿O cumplía con el derecho según usted? Estaría bien que nos diga algo.
Who the fuck is this guy?
¿Cuál es su postura?
Who is the fuck is this guy? Anybody know who he is? Guys, I want to get him Abascal. Let's take a look. Whoever Abascal is, Santiago Abascal. Wow. I love you, señor. You are amazing. Santiago, I would love, I'm following him right now, 1.4 million followers. Wow. He's famoso. Guys, if anybody has any connection to Santiago Abascal, not in a Zionist way. Oh my God, these fuckers. Are there missiles? This is Pedro Sanchez's doing. Pedro Sanchez, this is because of you. You burro. Tú es burro.
In a few minutes. Find the best protection around.
Tú es mariposa. I'll be back in a few minutes, guys. A ver. Next up, we're back from the Rockets, ladies and gentlemen. Here is Gad Saad commentating on the tragic case of Noelia Castillo Ramos. Let's take a look.
Hi, everybody. This is Gad Saad. I have been in the public arena documenting all kinds of lunacy for decades now, of course, leading to my writing The Parasitic Mind and my forthcoming book, Suicidal Empathy. So you'd think that I would be immune from hearing about astonishing cases, hearing about the lunacy that has gripped the West. Until this morning, I want to tell you the story of a young Spanish woman, Noelia Castillo Ramos, who in 2022 was gang raped by a bunch of minors, teenagers. Of course, the attack was so devastating to her personhood that she attempted suicide by jumping, I think, from a fifth floor, from a building on a fifth floor. She didn't die, and she became a paraplegic. She's so unable today to deal with the reality that has been inflicted by those teenagers that the Spanish authorities have agreed that she can, she is to be euthanized. Now, I don't know the identity of the folks in the young gang rapists, so I won't try to presume that I know their ethnicity, but we can probably guess what it might be. But irrespective of that, their identities cannot be known because as children they must be protected so that they're not marginalized. This woman, I'm not sure if the euthanasia has already taken place. As someone who is genuinely empathetic, not suicidally so, I can't stop putting myself in her mind and saying, does this woman have the existential right to be free of being gang raped? Does she have the right to then at least see the right justice meted out to those kids? Or what's most important is that their identities not be revealed, because that could harm their trajectories for the rest of their lives. For whatever it's worth, I don't know this woman. I'm not Spanish. I don't know her parents. I'm several degrees removed from her, but I feel your pain. Take care, everybody.
Horrible. Absolutely terrible. Makes you think how much longer will these governments in Europe keep backstabbing us? I mean, I'm not involved there. I don't live in Europe. But how long will they keep backstabbing the people? Noela Castillo Ramos, your parents love you. They fall in difficult financial times. You are ripped away by the government. Your grandmother and mom are crying and begging. They bring 12 police officers to stop any resistance. You are placed in a teen shelter full of Muslim migrants. You aren't allowed to leave. The staff treats you like you are worthless. The Muslim teens decide to gang rape you. You think you will get help. Nobody comes. Nobody listens. They rape you again, even more people this time. You try to report it. The women in charge of the shelter are woke liberals. They refuse to report it to avoid making Muslim immigrants look bad. They won't do anything. You tried to be happy. You can't move on. You jump off the 5th story of a building. By the grace of God, you live. You are injured, but you still have hope. The state tells you about the option of euthanasia. You pass it off at first. The trauma keeps replaying in your brain. Still nobody is helping. You feel hopeless. Spain is falling. You decide to do it because you feel worthless. Your dad fights to keep you alive for years. He loses in 2 different liberal courts. You are scheduled for euthanasia. The days pass. You do an interview, which is really desperate cry for help. Still nobody does. The day gets closer. You keep you isolated, so you have no idea how much there's so much love and support for you outside. Your best friend desperately tries to get up to talk to you. She is blocked by doctors who seem to take pleasure in the power they have. The process begins. You are alone and probably pretty scared. You feel like you have no choice. The sedative sets in. The last thing you see is cold, dark hospital room. The toxin is administered. Your lungs slowly stop working. You die in your sleep. And your abuser still face no consequences. You become a monument to the failure of the state that was supposed to protect you. Absolutely, absolutely disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Absolutely horrible. Horrible. And again, this retarded ideology in Europe is going to keep causing horror stories like this. Spain in the process of committing cultural and demographic suicide. Importing Pakistani migrants. Obtain paperwork as Spain plans to legalize 500,000. They're planning on legalizing 500,000 while they are literally euthanizing their own people. They're planning on legalizing 500,000 Pakistanis. Islamic mobs are gathering in Morocco to invade Spain via Ceuta. Pedro Sanchez is European public enemy number 1. He must be stopped. This is, by the way, what I was talking about, why the EU doesn't work. The European Union can't pan out in the long term because you have leaders like Sanchez who are going to just let this happen. And then this has wide-reaching issues and consequences for Germany, for Portugal, for the UK, for France, because they don't stop. These Muslim migrants don't stop in just Spain. Once they get into the EU, they can kind of go wherever the hell they want. They have They're at the will of going wherever they can end up, even in the Balkan countries who can't support them, but they can end up there if they wanted to. There's ways that they could sneak in, that they could pay people off, but once they're there on the land, they're impossible to get rid of unless you deport them and show them that they can't do this. Breaking Spanish, Jorge Bushade announces the biggest deportation plan ever in Europe.
Hundreds of towns, of cities in Europe are already in the hands of Muslim leaders. Second, Europe cannot wait any longer for its ruling elites to become aware of the situation. We must build new elites. We must be the new elites. Third, main problem is that Islamism is now fits on closed Muslim communities. Political separatism is growing in the heart of Europe. This political separatism of those who want to live without submitting to the laws passed by national parliaments. We must put end to these parallel societies where education, wealth, statuses of women, security, and shared faith are lived in opposition to the West. Political separatism is found in hundreds of mosques in Spain or in Europe.
And it's a major issue. And it's not going to be tackled unless somebody actually does it. But I agree with what he's saying. You guys, the people, need to be the new elite. And I don't think you actually need to be elite, but you need to be the new, whatever that means. You need to be that new. So you are the thing that people are listening to. And by all means, it's happening, but we need more. It took Spain over 700 years to fully recapture their land during the Reconquista, removing all the Muslims. The Socialist Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez threw it all away in 8 years.
Spain has announced it will grant legal residency to 500,000 undocumented migrants, and the impact could be seen immediately. In Barcelona, hundreds lined up outside the Pakistani consulate, hoping to secure the paperwork needed to apply.
There will be a lot of difference, like I can travel to my home country and meet my parents and work here legally so I can pay my tax, and further I can apply for my permanent residency.
The measure will apply to foreign nationals who have been in Spain for at least 5 months before December 31st, 2025. Applicants will also need to prove they don't have a criminal record. If granted, they'll receive a 1-year residence permit with the possibility of extension. The process is expected to be open from April to the end of June. It's the largest regularization drive Europe has seen in years, and it goes against the trend of many European countries taking harsher measures against irregular migration. Spain's Prime Minister has repeatedly argued that migration is essential for the country's economic performance. He said it accounted for about 80% of growth over the past 6 years and some 10% of social security revenues. The Spanish left-wing government brought in the plan by royal decree, allowing it to bypass parliament. Opposition parties have criticized the policy. The far-right Vox party said it would take legal action against it.
Fight it. Fight it with everything you can. The fact that we didn't see Spanish patriots, at least not many, in the streets fighting against it. Oh boy, rockets. Oh, 1 second, guys. Here's another clip on the streets of Spain. You can't pass, we have to pray to Allah. In Spain, Muslim immigrants are in charge. Let's take a look.
Tiene huevos, ¿eh? Estoy en mi puto país. Acabo de comer, acabo de salir de currar y no puedo sacar el coche porque todos estos hijos de la gran puta están en el polígono aquí detrás del chico, rezando en plena calle. Ahí, ya los podéis ver ahí tumbados. Mira cómo tienen todo esto. Este es mi coche, no puedo salir porque han aparcado aquí y aquí tenemos que jodernos y nadie dice nada. Esto sí que hace falta tener pelotas. ¿En qué país vivimos, tío? Un helicóptero con un AK-47 y fusilarlos a todos. Hijos de puta.
He's calling them bitches. I also like that he called a puta stunt.
Tiene huevos, ¿eh? Estoy en mi puto país. Acabo de comer, acabo de salir de currar y no puedo sacar el coche porque todos estos hijos de la gran puta están en el...
Buddhist. I love the Spanish. Even though I know they really don't like Jewish people in Spain, I just love Spain. It's one of my favorite countries. One of my favorite countries. It's definitely one of my favorites in Europe. Breaking. Protests continue to erupt in Spain as people rise up against the socialist left prime minister. It's not as many as you'd want to see, though. Like, considering what the fuck is going on, you'd want to see way more people out in the street, way more out of the people in the street fighting against this shit. Spanish police deploy violence. Tensions are escalating. Spanish police start using force on protesters and farmers. Let's just take a look. Shoo, some people got messed up there. Tensions are apparently escalating. This was in the beginning of March, with corrupt government working against the common interest of the people, which is a trend that we keep seeing from European leaders, unfortunately. Breaking, it's happening. Thousands of anti-migration protesters flood the streets of Spain. They want their country back, is what they're saying. They want their country back. And I hope and wish, I pray for the people of Spain to get their country back from these evil, stupid EU leaders who keep flooding your countries in with mass migrants from all over the world that don't respect you, your culture, your language, or your people. I'll see you guys next one. I love you long time. Goodbye, class.